when I was working my way through college, I worked at a turkey factory. And at the turkey factory, it was just a long conveyor belt. And I was toward the end of the conveyor belt, and my job was to chop off the tails of the turkeys. And that was all I did. I just chopped up, they were dead already. They were dead. I would chop off the tails of the turkeys with a big knife, and every day I was afraid I was going to cut off my fingers because it was just a bare knife. And so I didn't stay there very long, like 4 or 5 months. And I found a better job. I got a job at a BYU dairy milking cows. And there I wasn't in danger of cutting off my hand. I was in danger of being kicked, which I was. And I was continually being swatted by the tail of the cows. But the thing there is I had no input into how the dairy was run or even how we brought the cows in, took the cows out. All I was just supposed to do was follow orders on what I was doing. Now, at the same time, I was running a student magazine, pretty spiffy, lavishly illustrated magazine. We had a staff of 20 volunteers. And so during the breaks while I was milking cows and during lunch, I'd be on the phone in the lunchroom calling all the editors and the illustrators and so on. You got that done yet? Is that story coming in? I was running this magazine while I was milking cows. It obviously had more leadership potential, but none of it was being used there milking the cows. And then my first job after college, I came here to San Francisco, Bay Area, and I worked at Josie Bass Publishers in San Francisco. And at that point in time, Josie Bass was a pretty small company. I was like the 15th employee. And the company was still run by the founder, who was very autocratic, very controlling. Just to give you an idea of the way it was, all the mail, he opened all the mail to everybody's mail, and he would make notes on the mail, letting you know what you're supposed to do. Now keep in mind, this is 1977. This is before the internet. This is where everything happened by mail. Somebody can remember that. It wasn't email or anything, it's just mail. And so you get your instructions on the piece of on your mail of how you're supposed to handle this or that. It came in very controlling. And then it got kind of sinister after a while. As the company grew, he felt like he was losing control of it. And so he would, I'd get a call at 11 o'clock at night, and he'd be drunk, and he'd be cursing, talking about some other employee. Where he'd be saying that so-and-so, this employee really messed things up badly, you've got to fix it. And I knew that, the next night he was calling about me, or the next night he was calling someone else. And that was how he was running the company. It was a pretty command and control, in a very bad way, dysfunctional situation. Well, I became kind of a change agent within the company, changing that, and really had a lot of success. Then the company was sold in 1989. It was sold to a big media conglomerate. And at that point, we were part of a big bureaucracy, but it was still command and control. I had a boss in New York City. And my boss, everything now revolved around the phone call from my boss in New York City telling us what we were supposed to do. And they weren't adding any value. They weren't, and they didn't really understand what we were doing. But still, that's what it was: command and control from the phone call from the boss in New York City. And that's, a lot of you have had similar kinds of experiences. Well, in starting Berrett Koehler, we tried to rethink the paradigm of leadership. We tried to rethink how we practice leadership, management, how we run organizations. And that's, going to the right-hand side of the column, just talking about that a little bit. And what we did, so we started publishing books that are new ways of thinking about leadership. Two of our first books that we published, actually within our first year, have been kind of anchor books for us all the way along. Stewardship and Leadership in the New Science. It's fascinating books. Now here, I'm going to mention that each of you who's here, you can take one free book as a gift from being here. The books are on this table right there, and there are a bunch of copies of these. You can take one of these, or there are also copies of Mila's book, Peer-to-Peer Leadership, which is also has which really is kind of central to what we're talking about today. Or there are other books by other. We have about, let's say the Berrett Koehler authors who are here, would you raise your hand? Okay. And so their book, and there are a couple of others too. Some of their books are over there on the table also. So take a free book at the end of the day or whenever you'd like to take your free book. So what we set out to do as a company, though, is we set out to eat our own cooking, to have our own company be run by the ideas in our books, which is very unusual for a book publishing company. And I should say also, in relation to Josie Beth, Paul comes recently with that Josie Beth. We turned around the culture of the company, and it really became an absolutely wonderful place to be that lasted for decades afterward. And to some, it's been kind of squashed a little bit by the corporate reorganizations coming from New York again. But anyway, it's possible to change the culture of an organization from first the autocratic founder and then the bureaucracy. Okay, so just running through these, I'm going to run through each of these fairly quickly because you've got the handout and you can study them. Organization is network. What this means is that there are many different people making decisions, not just a few at the top. In the case of Berrett Koehler, everyone within the company has areas where they are making decisions, and anyone at Berrett Koehler can put an agenda item on our monthly staff meeting for something for our company to focus on, to talk about, and virtually everyone within Berrett Koehler, 26 employees, has put agenda items on our staff meeting. To quote from Mila's book, the peer-to-peer leadership, the job of the leader is not to tell followers what to do, but instead to create and enable a network of peer leaders. You recognize that the organization is a network and you're enabling the network. Number two, what this means about everyone a leader is that it's not the same people who are always leading everybody. Sometimes I'm in front, as I am now leading. Other times I'm a follower, I'm supporting, what we call courageous followership or active followership. Sometimes I'm on the side supporting, I'm a partner. But it's coming from all over. Everyone, we're all changing roles all the time. Sometimes we're in front, sometimes we're behind, sometimes we're by the side. None of us can just sit back and say we're only just a follower, because we all have different roles. Collaboration. People keep wanting me, as the president of the company, keep wanting me to force people to do things, to make people do things. They're always coming expecting, and I don't do it because our company doesn't run by compulsion, doesn't run by force, runs by collaboration, and as it says here, it runs by agreement, invitation, request. That's the way you get things done. Now that can be very frustrating because sometimes it takes a long time for people to really figure out that they support something, they want to do something. And number four, Berrett Koehler's mission is connecting people and ideas to create a world that works for all. That's what drives the company, is trying to create a world that works for all. Number five, service. That is really a core difference. The difference of leadership between leadership that's in self-interest versus leadership that's in service of others. In the case of Berrett Koehler Publishers, we set up the company to be in service of all of our stakeholder groups, our authors, our customers, our readers, our suppliers, our service providers, our employees, our shareholders, about 260 shareholders. All of those groups, and we have representatives on our board of directors from all of the groups, just trying to keep us focused on serving all of our stakeholders, rather than just serving shareholders or just the financial bottom line. Number six, loving, caring. One of the things that we do is we welcome even our competitors copying our best ideas and practices. We don't view that we have anything that's proprietary, secret. We hope that everyone, all of the publishers would look at what we're doing that's in good and copy it. Egalitarian structures. We've tried to avoid a class system within Berrett Koehler. One of the common ways that there are class systems is most organizations are set up so that the executive class is paid as much as possible, everyone else is paid as little as possible. In our case, we have only one compensation system, and our highest paid employee is me. I'm paid 3.5 times as much as the lowest paid employee, which compares to a lot of organizations where it's 100 times or 50 times or higher. But it's not to say everyone's paid the same. It's just that we're all part of the same system. It's not one separate system here and another one for this other group. Number 8, diversity and inclusion. This is an area where we're really struggling as an organization. And that's partly because in book publishing, there's just an article in Publishers Weekly that only 1% of people in book publishing are African American, 3% Hispanic, 3% Asian, well under 10% are other than just white within book publishing. Within authors, according to U.S. Census Bureau, 13% of writers and authors are either non-white or Hispanic, compared to 32% of the U.S. population. That's the author pool we're drawing on, and we're not doing very well as a company in dealing with this. Another problem we have is that most of our authors are in the 50s and 60s and 70s. We need a lot more younger authors. The foundation hopefully is going to make a difference for us, and this is part of the solution. It's going to, that's what we're hoping. Number 9, information shared. Everybody knows everything. The financials are shared with everyone. We talk about it every month in our staff meeting. Even our salaries. Everybody knows everyone else's salary, which is kind of heresy within organizations to have the compensation be open to everyone. Number 10, how do you change an organization? The traditional way is you get an executive group which goes off to retreat, comes up with strategic plans, comes back and tries to enroll everyone. This is how we do it. When in our strategic planning, we involved all of our stakeholder groups and brought together about 100 different groups of our customers, our authors, our suppliers, our service providers, our sales partners, all of our groups, brought them together. And that, so that's just a little bit of a window into what we're doing. Now, of course, every organization is partly traditional span and control. It's hard because that's so much in the water. We don't get away from it. Everyone does, and every organization is partly new leadership here. This sets it in black and white. It's not really black and white with any organization, but it gives you a little bit of a picture that hopefully we can work with.